Hello, beautiful people. Welcome back to Sessions with Koren. If you've ever thought about leaving your day job, starting a side hustle, or just wondered what it takes to build a business from the ground up, then this episode is for you. Today, we're diving into the realities of entrepreneurship, the good, the bad, and the ugly, the mental pressure, the emotional roller coaster, and the financial sacrifices that don't always make it to social media. Joining me on the other side of the break is Dwayne Simon, an entrepreneur, creative thinker, and strategist who knows what it means to risk comfort for purpose. Stay with us and we'll be right back after the break. Welcome back to Sessions with Koren. My guest today is the fantastic Dwayne Simon, a purpose-driven entrepreneur who has spent years helping persons to build their brand, and he believes in their vision. He is known for his strategic mind, his very calm presence, and his ability to inspire people to start where they are with what they have. Dwayne, welcome, and as always, it's a pleasure spending time with you and chatting.
Thanks for having me in studio. That's a very warm introduction.
Okay, I didn't even tell the half of it. There's so much more to say about you.
Very kind, but happy to be here.
All right, so seeing that we're on the topic of entrepreneurship, let's start with you. Tell us a little bit about your story. What inspired you to be an entrepreneur?
Yeah, so my story, it's, some people have this sort of miraculous story of they got a vision, and for me, it was I really needed to make additional income.
Okay.
The people that I cared about, that I love, I didn't make enough to do some of the basic things. Mm-hmm. So that prompted a desire to look about how I could earn additional income, because you don't want to be in that position where you can't be there for them. So that was, for me, that was my very simple start. Yes.
Okay, and I'm sure it's the same for a lot of our listeners. They needed extra money, and so they decided to jump into it.
Definitely.
Looking at the whole aspect of entrepreneurship, what are some of the mental pressures that someone faces as an entrepreneur?
So being an entrepreneur, it's a challenge in the sense of there's not a salary at the end of the month waiting for you. Mm-hmm. You have to go out there and get it. And I know that persons hear that a lot, but it depends on your makeup, what affects you, and it's important to learn how you are and be aware, so when those pressures come, you can roll with it. For example, I can speak for how I am. Mm-hmm. When it comes to paying staff or your team members, if I'm late, then it's like the world is crashing.
Oh my!
I can't think, I can't concentrate.
Yeah.
I look depressed, I look
stressed.
Oh
my! And they have families, right? To take
exactly
care of.
right. Yeah. Exactly. So, you feel like the world is caving in on you when that happens. But maybe for someone else, they may not have that pressure. I prefer to go without than to have one of my team members go without. But it may not be the same for everybody. But that is an intense pressure, to the point where I used to tell the staff that, if I'm late, then you're going to get a bonus just for me being late. And sometimes it's not even my fault. Sometimes the bank, it's not even your fault. But, that is a pressure that has been real. I didn't know about that before I got into it, but it's something that really affects me. So I try to put measures in place and get ahead of it.
I understand. I need to be one of your staff if I'm going to get a bonus if you're late. But that's a real pressure, when you have people depending on you, staff members and also family members, and if this is the only income that's coming in, then that could create a lot of pressure. So Dwayne, let's just say we have someone listening who wants to become an entrepreneur, and this person has multiple skills or multiple interests. how would you advise them in terms of, okay, which one do I choose? Because you can't do everything.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I would say, knowing what to choose, it's a combination between passion and what you enjoy doing. But it's not just what you enjoy doing, but what you do well.
Yes.
I may be passionate about cricket, but I can't bat to save my life, or I can't even make the club team.
Oh my.
So if that's the case, then maybe that's not a path for me. So it's passion, what you do above average. So if you want to, let's say, get into graphic design, start your own graphic design business, you should at least be able to do graphic design above average.
Yes.
I know she's one of the best graphic designers in the region.
Yes.
The producer. But you should at least, you may not be as good as she is, but if you're at least above average,
yes.
then there's enough of the market to share. And so that part is very important. So passion, above average skill set. And then the third aspect is there needs to be a need for it in the market.
Absolutely.
If you don't sense that there's a need, and we'll get into that a little bit more, but if you don't sense that there's a need, if no one's asking for the product, if you put yourself out there and nobody bites, then you may have to try something else.
All right, so you should be passionate about it. So ladies and gentlemen, if you have 4 things you're interested in, look for the one that's a passion, like it becomes easy and you really want to put everything into it. Something that there's a need for, because you can like it all you want. If nobody wants it, you're not going to make any money. And you must be able to do it well.
Yeah, do it well above average.
Okay. And it must be something that's profitable also.
Well, I mean, if people want it, you're going to make money from it, but I guess profitable enough that it can sustain you. And you can even put that into a table and rank it by each. So if you have 4 ideas, you can rank the ideas by how they do on each of those questions.
Yes.
And the one that come up with the highest points.
I love that. You know why I love it? A lot of times we make decisions out of emotions. And when you're talking about something like entrepreneurship, starting a business, growing a business, emotions alone are not enough. And when you talked about writing it, that's important.
Yeah, definitely.
Paper and pen, so the facts can't lie.
Definitely.
You put everything there, and which one scores the most, then you lead. I like that. You lead with that.
Absolutely,
right?
yes.
What about support? After you've done all this and you've decided, okay, I'm going to launch my fry planting business. I wish somebody would do that. Make products just with planting. I could eat planting every day, all day. So anybody listening and you're good at making planting products, call me, please. I want some.
I think the CRISPR company does well.
The CRISPR company, that's chips alone. I want everything. So let's just say you've done all that and you're getting your grind on. What's the importance of support in terms of like family, children, parents, mentors, even communities, government? What's the importance of support for our local entrepreneurs?
Yeah, so support is, I feel like we can have 10 shows about support.
Okay.
Support is, I think, the foundation of what we need to start to talk about when it comes to entrepreneurship. And as you said, the different layers, family and friends and community, governmental support. It's so important that perhaps the culture shifts a bit more, so it becomes more of a culture of support. And what I mean by that, as an example, when I was growing up, they told me 2 things. You go to school, do well in school, you're going to be successful, you're going to be all right.
Wow.
And another message was education is key.
Yes.
And I've been an educator for over 10 years. I love teaching, I love education. But I feel like as a nation, we sort of overemphasize this idea of the brick and mortar classroom being the only key. And I think somewhere along the line, persons in the society started to think that that might be the only key. But that's not the case.
Okay.
Entrepreneurs, you don't need a master's to become an entrepreneur or a doctorate, but if the society kind of puts a pressure on you to sort of get your PhD, then you may feel like you're in this alone.
Okay.
I've always believed that, let me go in order, but I've always believed that the same way we have scholarships for people going to study and they don't have to pay it back, I also believe you should reserve maybe like 10, 15%, even 20. I'll give more, but just introductory. Reserve some for entrepreneurs who really want to try something.
Okay.
And just like how the students don't have to pay it back, perhaps the entrepreneurs can also get it as a grant under certain conditions, like they have to stay here, they have to produce reports, and I'm sure they wouldn't mind. So that support, I think, is so important. And if we change that culture to see the viability of entrepreneurship, then it makes it easier for communities to support.
Okay.
It makes it easier for parents to not think that if their child is not going to be a doctor or lawyer, they're not going to make it. So if we can change that culture a bit, it can be so helpful. But we need the family support. We need support from our friends and family. And a lot of the times, it may be a situation where as an entrepreneur, you're bootstrapping. You're building your business based on the little monies that you get from here and there.
Yes.
And sometimes injection from family can really help. And it may be $1,000, $2,000. It may go a very long way.
Yeah, anything
so
helps.
that support, I think, is very important. And if your circle isn't in a position to help, they can help in other ways in terms of support. For example, when we spoke about the 3 things that you want to look for, the one that we said was that you want to make sure that the public would want it.
Yes.
And so if you have a support group who maybe they're not able to give financially, they can give by giving feedback.
That's like a little focus group.
Like a focus group. So basically you say, I have these 4 ideas or 3 ideas, and I want you to tell me which one you would be most interested for in getting right now.
Okay.
And if you do that to enough people, you learn a lot. I used to, when I had ideas, I would run it by 100 people.
Yeah, I like that.
And see how they feel. And you're out there anyway.
Yes.
So instead of talking about things that may not further your cause, talk about one of your 3 ideas.
Yes.
And sometimes people ask questions. And sometimes you get people who are critical, and criticism isn't good. It isn't always bad because it can help you to improve your product.
Yes.
So especially when they ask you to explain, or they said, but what about so-and-so, and you have to give an answer, your whole concept of your business becomes more enhanced because you took all those criticisms and you've revised and revised and revised.
So you have a new and improved product.
So it becomes new and improved.
And you also understand your why. Because if nobody ever asks, then the answer is never there. I like that. So we can get governmental grants for entrepreneurs, educational programs. And you mentioned the academic brick and mortar, and it's important for us to realize people who want to be plumbers and electricians, do you know a lot of those people make more money than some of the people with their degrees? And the thing is, we don't have enough of those persons in our society. Try to get a plumber or electrician, and they have a waiting list, right? And so it's important, yes, that people are diversified in their entrepreneurship. And support doesn't have to be financial. It could be time. It could be babysitting while you go off and do your stuff. And mentorship. How important are mentors? The ones who are maybe older, who've walked that path. How important is mentorship for an entrepreneur?
Yeah, so I think mentorship is another aspect that we need to try to promote as much as we can. It's very, a lot of the entrepreneurial spaces, they may be competitive in nature. And so if you're trying to find a mentor in the same field, persons may be concerned about competition sort of becoming an issue. And so you don't really get those mentorship streams as much as possible. So I personally, I've had more so career mentors as opposed to entrepreneurship mentors. When it comes to Antigua, what I found is that, fortunately, my mentors tend to be within the Caribbean.
Okay.
Because if they're in a different country as me, there's not that concern that this person might compete with me or so forth.
Antigua is small. Antigua is small. So you're asking somebody to mentor you and they're thinking, boy, if I teach him all I know, then he might come and take my customers. But guess what? Like you said earlier, somebody giving negative feedback is not bad. It's the same thing with competition. Somebody comes along, they're doing the same thing, you give them the advice, you can still maintain your quality, you can still maintain excellent customer service. Competition will drive you to become better. So competition doesn't always have to be a bad thing, but I do understand what
Definitely, yeah. So, I mean, I see it that way, but it may not be the case. But I think that may be the reason why it's sort of difficult. We don't really have, at least I haven't found like a willingness for persons to come and mentor you and guide you. And to be fair, where do you find a lot of advanced entrepreneurs that look like we do, that have our experiences?
Okay.
Where can you go and get like 5 entrepreneurs that look like how I would look in 20 years.
Okay.
That had my experiences, that went to my schools.
All
Like,
right.
where do you find them?
Okay, so it's not so easy. So anyone interested in being a mentor, call us up. And the mentor doesn't have to be in the same field. It could be someone who can teach certain soft skills, how to be strong, how to be proactive, how to be determined, how to bounce back from challenges, financial stuff. Speaking about that, tell us about financial sacrifices that entrepreneurs have to make.
Definitely, yeah. And I would say on the last aspect of if I could just quickly go back to support,
Sure.
something that we're trying to do in our team is have something like a grant for entrepreneurs where they can get up to $10,000 in support, which we're trying to do next year. But in terms of financial sacrifices, you know, I think about the word sacrifices, Koren, and it's a very interesting word.
Okay.
You know, is sacrifice a good thing or a bad thing? Let me ask you.
I think it's a fair thing. It's a life thing. It's, you know, we talk about opportunity costs and economics. Whatever you want, you always give up something to get something. So we're here, and we could have been at the beach. And so did we make a sacrifice? Or we just give up something to get something? But
Okay, so I like that because now that we've defined it, the financial sacrifices would always be there. One of the things that I share with my team members is I'm very ascetic. I don't have like bling, and I don't spend a lot. I don't have a fancy car. I cut back in a lot of areas because I want to be able to have capital to build.
Yes.
You know, so I guess that is a sacrifice in and of itself. But I would say doesn't necessarily mean that you have to do 360 sacrifice.
Okay.
You could still have things that you like. You know, so if I like comedy, so if there's a comedy show and I want to go, I'll go, you know. So it doesn't necessarily mean to cut out everything, but you know,
the balance.
the balance.
Yeah, if you want to invest in getting some tools to grow your business, and you'll have to give up 3 fets. So maybe instead of going to 6, you go to 3. So you still get a little bit of fet in, but at least you have enough money to buy your equipment. So.
Or what if you challenge yourself? Okay, for 2026, if I go out, I'm not gonna buy any alcohol.
Okay, that's a lot of money saved for some people.
There you go. And then the health benefits.
Yes,
alcohol has very high calories.
Okay.
So you're healthier to have more energy to be an entrepreneur.
That's one I didn't even think of.
Yeah, and then you save the money too, and then that money can go back into
the business.
You know, so I've heard people say, I've heard millionaires say, on their part to being a millionaire, they made a commitment not to drink, not to smoke.
Okay.
When you look at the cost of those two things, it's a lot of money. Like, it's a lot of money.
Yeah, they add up.
Yeah,
okay. So if we have someone listening now who is in a day job, they're preparing to leave, they're saying, okay, we're in this month, July 2025, by 2026, I want to start my own business, whatever. What advice would you give to that person in terms of coming out of their day job into full entrepreneurship?
Yeah, I don't necessarily believe in the leap of faith approach.
Okay.
I think that it's a model that works in countries that have that financial backing. Countries that have, let's say, years of generational wealth. You know, if let's say I have 3 children, right? And I'm working a job with government. I'm not going to tell that person, or I'm not going to recommend, even for myself, to just leave and go and see what happens.
Okay.
Because you have 3 children depending on you. You have a partner that's dependent on you. So you don't want to necessarily jump and hope for the best.
Okay, so you want to minimize risk.
You have to minimize risk. When people depend on you, you have to minimize risk.
Okay.
Now, if you're 22 years old and you live with your parents, and your parents are doing well enough for themselves, they're not pressuring you to necessarily contribute, then you can tell yourself, hey, okay, well, I can try something.
Okay.
And I can jump in. I can take a leap of faith there.
Yes.
You know, but once we get older, 30s, 40s, and the responsibilities kick in, we can't just blindly jump in faith. We have to have calculated risk.
Okay.
So I would definitely recommend, instead of jumping in faith, perhaps it should be more of a transition.
Okay.
So in periods where you have, let's say you have a month vacation, then in that month you can use that opportunity to try your idea, your business idea full time. Go 150% in. and see how it's being received. See if persons are receiving it well, and if they are, then that doesn't mean you jump. It just means that you have good data.
Okay.
You have good data that
That's a start.
people like it.
Yeah.
And so the next step is, how can you perhaps employ someone perhaps part-time to help to you become the creative director and they become the boots in the ground.
Okay.
And maybe in the evenings you can push the business and then in the daytime they can execute. And you try that long enough that the business idea starts making enough to pay for that part-time support person, and then perhaps the part-time support person can become a full-time support person.
Okay.
And then from there you keep growing in that way. And when you have a track record of sustained income, you then have to keep on growing it so it's high enough to accommodate you if you were to make the shift.
Wow,
so in other
yeah.
words, you create a space for yourself,
Yeah.
and then you give your place of employment, due notice, and you
Okay.
just shift over.
All right, that sounds like our blueprint.
Yeah, but some people wait even longer because it's
Yeah.
good to have like business savings, personal savings. So I would say definitely don't rush to leave.
Okay.
You can have like a 3-4 year plan.
Okay.
So the first year is ideation, and then the next 2 years you're transitioning and building. But even when you start to make money, good money, don't jump right away. Still take the 2 incomes. But while we're taking the 2 incomes, you want to be responsible. You don't want to be short-changing any one side.
Okay.
And that's where the word sacrifice comes back in again.
Yes,
because
absolutely.
it means that like you may lose your weekends.
Okay.
My sister and I, for example, we have gone like sometimes a whole year working weekends, 7 days a week.
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean you work the whole day on Sunday, but maybe at least 4 hours, 5 hours on a Sunday. But you go every day, and then that allows you to do that. And then once you have some saved up, then you can switch.
All right. That was very, very comprehensive. So y'all don't get up and go leave your day and job and say Dwayne said to leave. You have a plan. That's what Dwayne is suggesting. Have a plan, have a transition plan, test out the market, do a little bit at a time, have somebody helping you, fit in on the weekends, and then you see how it goes. And as it starts to grow, and the other thing is too, when you stay in that day job, you have certain benefits that you don't get as an entrepreneur. Because that's the other thing, entrepreneurs, you have to pay your own statutory deductions, make provision for maternity leave, vacation, and all that, all the things you get from a day job. So you must have a plan. So go and buy that exercise book with a plan. Dwayne, last question for you. We can talk about this all day.
Yeah, we can, because I just realized there's a little caveat there, but yeah, we can.
Yes.
continue.
Okay, so the last thing I want you to tell our listeners, when things get rough, financially or otherwise, how do you maintain motivation as an entrepreneur when you're sailing through rocky seas?
Yeah, no, definitely. The motivation part is something that's very important, and for me personally, one of the things that keeps me motivated is I want to be able to take care of the people that I care about, and the thing about like when you have unexpected tragedies or things that pop up, life's pop-ups, if we can call them that.
Yes.
It's hard to plan for, and life is expensive. So I don't want to be in a position where, somebody that I care about needs something, maybe a medical surgery, and you can't afford it, So what keeps me going is we want to make sure that our loved ones are okay.
Yes.
And so okay that maybe when they get to my age, they won't necessarily have that pressure because the family unit would by that time have developed residual streams of income. So that's what keeps me going. I want to be the generation that no longer has to make that type of sacrifice and invest, but that you can prepare it for them.
Yes.
And that's what I would say,
All right.
That's what keeps me going.
So when things get rough, just think about the legacy that you're building and how much you're able to help the people you care for and what you're putting out there.
Yeah,
Dwayne-
no, sorry.
No.
I'm excited. That's what it is.
It is an exciting
It's
conversation.
a very
you
exciting
know?
conversation.
And your words of wisdom have been invaluable. You've been a great help to our listeners. And I just want to say thank you so much. And I hope persons know where to find you on social media so they can get some of those other little nuggets and important things that you have to share. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, stay with us and more on Sessions after this break. Entrepreneurship isn't just about a logo and a website. It's late nights, uncertain paydays, and a whole lot of self-talk to keep going when no one is there clapping for you. Here are 5 powerful reminders for anyone building their own business in Antigua and Barbuda or beyond. The first one is that clarity comes from action. Don't wait until you have the perfect plan. Start small, test the ideas, and then refine it as you go. Number 2, expect to make some sacrifices, but don't glorify it. Yes, you'll give up some comfort, but protect your mental and emotional well-being along the way. Number 3, surround yourself with believers. You need people around you who will remind you why you started, who will pray with you, give you finances, or just listen on hard days. Number 4, make sure you pay yourself, even if it's just $50. Value your time and effort early, and that sets a standard for how others will value you. And number 5, document the journey. Keep a journal, record voice notes, or whatever. Someday this story will inspire someone else. And as Dwayne always says, you are more important than all the great work that you do for this world. Welcome back to Sessions with Koren. Time now for your golden nugget. Entrepreneurship is a decision to bet on yourself daily. It's not easy, but if you build with integrity and stay committed to growth, your vision will make room for you. Before we wrap up, I want to hear from you. If you're an entrepreneur or dreaming of becoming one, what's one thing that you took from today's conversation? Drop your thoughts on the Sessions with Koren episode post on the AVS Television Facebook page, and you might just win a copy of our Entrepreneur Planner. Catch up on past episodes on YouTube and join us next week for another conversation that inspires and empowers. Until then, stay grounded, stay growing, and stay you. See you next time.
The Caribbean's greatest summer festival is all right here in the Carnival Zone on ABS TV.